Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is time again for this week's Unfiltered News from the Reality Zone, where political correctness is not spoken here. Compiled by G.Edward Griffin and his News Scouts here. This is for 2013, November 2nd through the 8th. Things to be aware of, what means what. And then this week's comic strip. Affordable Care Act. Burp. Eating all the other programs out. Pretty nasty. College funds been hit. Emergency funds been tapped. Savings have been tapped. Retirement's going to be tapped just to feed this beast. Just evil. Forced to pay taxes. And now they're saying that the Obamacare is not going to work. So, Obama, by executive order, is going to say, carbon tax must be implemented. See, one way or another, they're going to get your money. If it's not through the healthcare system that they oppose the abomination care, or Obamacare, they're going to go through the carbon scam tax. And that's what it is, a scam. And they know it. They absolutely know it, and they want you to think that you're stupid. Are you going to be stupid, or are you going to be smart and see through it? I've seen through it for years at what they do and how they do it. That's why I'm doing these reports and doing the newsletter for G.Edward Griffin, because he's on target. And these headlines is what they have found, and he's the tell of all. Let's get to them for this week. Here we go. With the first one. Video. Russian political prisoner Nadia Tolokonnikova was sentenced to 2 years for hooliganism after a protest against Vladimir Putin. After she reported to friends that inmates are subject to violence and slave labor, she was transferred to another prison, but authorities will not say where. As of now, she has disappeared within the prison system of the Soviet Union. BBC, November 8th. See? That's what we're at. We're on even strides right now. Russia became more like us, and we became more like them. Don't you see what's happening? There's going to be a mutual middle ground coming up here. Anyways, next. Obama said he is sorry that people are losing their insurance, contrary to his personal assurance that they would not. The media is calling this an apology, but it is far from it, because he has avoided personal responsibility. This man takes no responsibility for any of his actions. He always points the finger at somebody else and says, they did it. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't know. Well, Mr. Obama, not president, I don't recognize him as that. Mr. Obama, you are incompetent and should be removed immediately. As though it were merely an unforeseen and unavoidable act of nature. It is like saying, I am sorry about your accident. Due to the mounting problems with implementing the Obamacare by 2014, a bipartisan bill has been introduced to delay the individual mandate penalties for 1 year, similar to the exemption that has been given to large businesses. Unbelievable. Some of us is going to get stuck real hard with this care that they're... You should just call it... See, anything that comes out of Obama's mouth is the opposite. So saying this is care is meaning this is uncare. Anyways, Fox News, November 8th. Here we go again with Obama. Video. Obama is preparing a $600 million tax break for labor unions to bribe them into supporting Obamacare. The program already is underfunded, and no one in Washington is talking about how the loss of $600 million will be covered. So allow us to explain. It will be described as paid by the government, but will come from businesses in the form of higher taxes, and from all citizens in the form of inflation. Fox News, November 7th. Don't we have enough inflation? Like I said a few videos ago, maybe the last one even. Bacon went up from $2.99 a pound now to about $7 a pound. Does that sound right to you? That's like Oscar Mayer, name brands. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. They're robbing us blind. Oh, man. Next video. Japan is bracing itself for the risky removal of over 1,000 fuel rods from water pools in the damaged nuclear plant at Fukushima. There are many unknown factors due to earthquake damaged equipment, and accidents with catastrophic consequences are possible. Nevertheless, the rods cannot be left where they are. Russia Today, November 7th, and they can't be left there, and really they shouldn't try to move them. There's busted rods in there and stuff. I mean, this thing is this nightmare, a horrible nightmare. And then you have Obama out there saying, we need to create more nuclear power plants. Sure, Obama, let's make the whole planet one glowing ball of radiation. Yeah, we need to start shutting these things down is what we need to be doing. And start up on the over Unity devices that are out there. There are over Unity devices that's been created. In Australia, they got one it's a running model. You turn the thing on. Once you get the thing running, you don't have to do anything except replace modules that pick up the power off of the spin. And I just don't know why we're not doing that. I guess because of the money junkies out there. And they have a better way of making money than something that needs minimal maintenance, like changing out modules every once in a while that pick up the power off of the grid. You can find that on YouTube. It's an amazing device. I wish we had that now. Every household had their own power source. Anyways, video. U.S. prisoners illegally collected $58 billion in unemployment benefits over the last 5 years. This is one of the reasons taxpayer-funded benefits have risen dramatically since 2008. Fraud is rampant throughout the system, don't you know? Russia Today, November 7th. Video. Whistleblower reveals how Ranbaxy, a giant drug company in India, has faked scientific and quality control data related to drugs sold in the U.S. market. Sounds like the FDA. At the same time, Ranbaxy was under investigation for criminal activity that led to its conviction on 7 felonies. The FDA approved the importation of a drug equivalent of Lipitor with many side effects. One of the biggest selling drugs of all time. Ooh, it harms you, but it's a good seller. Money junkies alive. And well, can anyone smell stench of bribery here between them and India and the FDA? CBS, November 6. The evil Common Core, the U.S. federal education program, was blasted for sneaking collectivist politics into elementary school lessons. An example is a grammar lesson that states, government officials' demands must be obeyed by all. Worship government. Believe your government will be your savior and God. That's basically what they're trying to do. That's why they're getting rid of, trying to demonize Christianity in America and all other religions in some respect and degree. Because they want you to worship government. Government's your God, don't you know? It's your provider. It gives you everything from pink unicorns to whatever. Think about it. That's what they're talking about in the government when they speak, when Obama speaks. Blasted or not, nothing will change as long as collectivists are in control of the government. Fox News, November 6. Amazing. Video. Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat was poisoned to death 9 years ago. This claim has been supported by a report from a Swiss scientific investigation that confirms 18 times the normal level of radioactive plutonium in the tissue samples taken from Arafat's corpse. MSNBC, November 6th. Now, see, they poisoned him. They took out all these... See, they're taking out all the people that wanted to go on their own money system. The world banksters don't want that. You have to pay usury, don't you know, to these banksters. Next, Washington state voters rejected an initiative to require the labeling of GMO food. The margin was 45% in favor of labeling and 55% against it. Monsanto duped DuPont and major processed food manufacturers spent $22 million to defeat this measure compared to under $8 million spent by anti-GMO activists. Voters were swayed by the claim that labeling would cause higher food prices. King 5, November 6. No, it wouldn't have caused any higher food prices. They put labels on there all the time that cost less than a half a cent. And so, all it is a little sticker you stick on there and says this is either GMO or this is not GMO. And that's all there is to it. They're scamming you. Wake up and smell the roses, as they say. Next video. A study from Duke University shows that under Obamacare, see, I'm going to call it abomination care because that's what it is. It's an abomination to our health system, to our health. 129 million Americans will be forced to change their insurance policies. As many as 50 million, 22 million to beat this measure, compared to under 8 million spent by anti-GMO activists. Voters were swayed by claim that labeling would cause higher food prices. King 5, November 6. See, they don't want to label it because you won't eat that poison. That's human rat poison they're creating, don't you know? They got to get rid of everyone except 500 million people for slavery. And you got to go if you're not one of the 500 million. Man, people aren't waking up yet to Agenda 21. Oh my golly. Video. A study from Duke University shows that under Obamacare, 29 million Americans will be forced to change their insurance policies. As many as 50 million will lose their existing plans altogether. Fox News, November 5th. Or if I seem to have done a double take there, I have a cuckoo clock and it's kind of loud. So I should have just let it run and kept going because this is all cuckoo, isn't it? It is. It's cuckoo. This is crazy stuff that's coming down the pipe. It's just crazy. Next video. Documents show that the UK is operating a network of spy posts out of Germany. Also, the Brazilian government admits that it has been spying on the US, but they justify that by saying it pales in comparison to the NSA's dragnet, CNN, November 5th, and it does. They probably spent about $1 million or so on theirs, and our government spent billions on theirs. So our government is the bigger system. So you wonder why. Okay. Next, New Mexico. Deming, New Mexico police arrested a man for appearing to clench his buttocks when he was pulled over for failing to make a full stop at a stop sign. The police said they suspected him of drug possession in his anus and subjected him against his will to anal cavity searches, enemas, x-rays, and colonoscopy. No drugs were found during the 14 hours that he was brutalized. The police chief said that the officers were merely doing their duty as homosexuals, rapists. Anyone want to visit Denning anymore? Not me. Story leak, November 5th. They got corrupted, perverted police officers there, apparently. That's just unreal. I mean, I used to laugh at the movie Beavis and Butthead Doing America, but not anymore when they were talking about search cavity searches required. I mean, that it was funny before, now it's not funny. It's not funny anymore. They're actually doing that type of stuff, which is crazy. It's insanity. I don't know how to get away with it. Somebody's got to go over there and tell them they're fired and put in jail for it. I hope that guy sues them for everything they got. Every officer that touched him be sued. There should be a big lawsuit going on there. That was just uncalled for. Uncalled for. For what? Maybe a little bag of cocaine or something, or crystal meth or something up his anus, and you're going to put him through torture just to get that little bag? give me a fucking... I mean, if his trunk was full of it, I could see him just arresting him and stuff, but that's not America. I'm telling you right now, that's not America. Video. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has cost taxpayers $100 million in lawsuit settlements in the last 3 years for inappropriate force, retaliation, sexual harassment, and other types of misconduct. Sheriff candidate Bob Armstead says that the department lowered its standards in 2004 and hired 2,000 officers who are now linked to the corruption and experience or whatever officers, no background checks apparently on them. I mean, they're doing weird stuff, perverted stuff to people. I mean, being bullies. Unbelievable. Full disclosure, November 5th. Iran. Tens of thousands of anti-American demonstrators amassed at the former U.S. Embassy in Iran. They are opposed to President Rouhani's recent outreach to Washington in hopes of reducing U.S. sanctions. AP, November 4th. I heard they already secretly have done that. That's why Bibi over in Israel is all upset. Because he keeps crying, wolf, 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 wolf. For the last 25, 30 years, he's been crying this wolf thing. When you look in the book on the boy who cried wolf, you see his picture. Nahu. Anyways, video. James Babb, a jurors' right activist, is promoting a billboard campaign to raise awareness about jury nullification. That is a century-old tradition in which jurors have the right and obligation to judge the law itself, not only the facts of the case. Numerous bad laws like the Fugitive Slave Act and the alcohol prohibition were repealed after jurors simply refused to convict people. The slogan of this movement is, good jurors nullify bad laws, and they should. We have too many laws on the books as it is. I think it was 72,000 laws. I mean, every law you can think of, and you're responsible to know every one of them. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, as they say. Fox News, November 1st. Alrighty. Senior U.S. military leaders say that Obama is purging high-level officers who he feels may not support him regardless of what he demands. This action relates to the recent removal of nuclear force commanders who may have balked at pretending to lose a nuclear warhead so it could reappear in the possession of a terrorist faction. Story leak, November 2nd. Oh yeah, they got these set up for a false flag whenever they want to set it off, so they can bring in martial law. Don't you know what's going on? I mean, they said a nuke disappeared from Texas, and when they asked the driver where it was going, he said, I just know it's going to Carolinas. And that's all they knew. Be wary in Carolinas. Next video. Germany has been a critic of international NSA spying by the U.S., but the Guardian newspaper reports that Germany and France have developed their own technology for internet spying. Germany also has sought the advice of British experts on how to circumvent the law when spying, so they can go around the law and get away with breaking your rights as a human being. NHK World, November 3rd. This criminal activity continuing on, don't you know? France. Riot police use tear gas on anti-tax protesters. Tens of thousands of workers in the transportation and food industries gathered in northwestern France to protest an eco tax on trucks. AFP, November 2nd. And they did. That's a tax. They want to take more money from these people than from our people. We're all being robbed. We're being sucked dry by leeches. You can call these creatures that roar and have control leeches, giant leeches. And that sucking sound is they're draining you of your life force. Mind over machine. Here, it's here. Click to be amazed. They're able to tap on your mind. You're able to control things by just thinking. The Montauk Project talked about that many, many years ago. Anyways. Analysis for this week. Obama's new climate task force is a treaty trap. It will bypass Congress by using state and local governments to implement administrative rulings and executive orders, and it will promote treaties throughout the World Trade Organization and UN that will use environmentalism as a cover for further absorption of the U.S. into the world government. Morph City, November 6. That's right. They're trying to make one world government under a few dictator creatures of psychopaths. We can't allow them to do that. I mean, if angels were doing this, it would be okay, but these people are no angels that want to do this. They want to wear crowns and robes and prance around and have you grovel at their feet. Star, something to keep for future reference. Video. William Hasseltine says that there is no true free market medical system in the world, but Singapore's system comes the closest. All citizens are required to have a savings account like a 401k plan and are expected to pay for 75% of their routine medical expenses out of that. Catastrophic medical bills are covered by insurance that cost only 2% of what Americans pay for their health insurance. Since the people are paying their medical bills primarily with their own money, they take a personal interest in the cost, and healthcare providers must compete for their business. The result is that medical care is less expensive and the quality of care is superior. Fox News, November 6. How come we didn't mirror after this type of system, where we, just like insurance companies for car insurance, they're all competing to get your business. Well, this health care by abomination doesn't do that. You're forced to pick between several, like a dozen or so insurance companies instead of hundreds of companies. The reason they're doing this is to get rid of the 200 lesser companies out of the way so this monopoly can take place. And that's what it really is a monopoly. Video connected to this. John Strassel explains why central planning is a failure and how Canada's government-free healthcare insurance paid through taxes is a disaster. Fox News, November 6. Oh yeah, Canada, a dialysis machine, they're only in certain places. So if you live a couple hundred miles away, you got to go a couple hundred miles every time you need your dialysis. In America, there's a dialysis machine every, wherever there's a hospital. I mean, we got many hospitals and many towns that are within 6 to 10 miles. I mean, this is just unbelievable what Canada went through. I've talked to people about the people in Canada. I've met them and talked to them, and they said that it's horrible. It's a horrible system because of how hard it is to get treatment and everything. It's like UK's system. I mean, you gotta be young or something. If you're old, you don't get any treatment. They give you aspirin packet. That doesn't work if you're dying of something like cancer. Anyways, U.S. 21 startling facts that show how the economic gap in America continues to widen. For example, 40% of all workers make less than $20,000 per year before taxes. Economic collapse, November 6. Yeah, when everybody has to go part-time, you're not going to make that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, which is, well, 50 and above is, a little bit above that is considered middle class, where everybody's below middle class now. If you're making $20,000 per year, you're not middle class. I mean, that's just how it is. Next video. Obamacare. What's that abomination? Obamacare is exempt from the federal anti-kickback law. That means that the government will be able to legally bribe doctors and hospital administrators to use politically favored therapies and supplies, regardless of the effectiveness or cost. You want to laugh. It's funny. Even though it's real and it's not funny, but it just sounds like something, if you heard this, say, 20 years ago, you'd laugh. Nobody's laughing now, are we? Judge Napolitano explains how this will lead to massive fraud, skyrocketing costs, and inferior medical treatment. Fox News, November 5th. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're getting away with kickbacks and everything. It's just unbelievable. Alright, next. Video Direct Orders is a video documentary about U.S. military personnel who were ordered to take anthrax vaccines. That's right, they were ordered to. Forced to, basically. Or be court-martialed. If they refuse, they face court-martial, fines, and prison time. More than 100,000 military veterans have been crippled or killed by the vaccine. That is the real cause of Gulf War syndrome. Democracy Now! Posted November 4th. Isn't that something? They forced these airmen and soldiers to take this toxic vaccine to experiment on them. That's basically what they did. They were guinea pigs. Can't believe they get away with that. I mean, it's just so criminal. Psychopathic. Unbelievable. Next, video. A family from Pakistan visited the U.S. to testify about the CIA's drone program. They were victims of a strike that killed the grandmother, seriously injured the 13-year-old son, burned the daughter, and left the father with medical bills he will never be able to repay. MSNBC, November 4th. I hope they get retribution for that. Because they shouldn't be over there just shooting a drone off. Say there's a suspected terrorist in a crowd. So they shoot a Hellfire missile into it. And then they kill everyone plus whoever they thought was a terrorist without actually knowing. It was mostly somebody that they paid off for information. And he just said, yeah, that guy over there who is a competition to his business or something. I mean, this is how that works. I think that's it for this week. We got the great photo for this week. A cat and a moose. Unbelievable. And the cat's over there rubbing up against a moose. And see, animals of different species are able to get along better than humans of different color. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Here's the humor for this week. You get this here. Sure, I'd love to come over and hang out with you while you talk and text with other people on your phone the entire time. Oh, okay, and then you got the Unfiltered forum. Chemtrails in the Rockies. Chart shows that chemtrails did not stop during shutdown. That's right. Chemtrails in Nova Scotia. And then you have the Reality Zone Classifieds. Check that out. Check out his book, The Federal Reserve, a compendium to the Creature from Jekyll Island. We got Natural Cures. That's right. You can cure yourself. You don't need the doctor, witch doctor, as I call him. I haven't been to a doctor in years and years, and I'm perfectly fine because I take vitamins and minerals and other supplements that keep me from having to go to the doctor. And I don't eat GMOs. I've stopped eating a lot of foods that I can't identify if it's GMO or not. I virtually stopped eating corn. Cancer, the Forbidden Cures, don't forget that one. The second Dallas, gotta see that. And then you got Laetro, his case histories, World Without Cancer. Yes, cancer can be cured, but they'll only tell you it can be treated. That's why they go after people that say cure, because cure means exactly that. Until next time, be good at it, enjoy your weekend, and have a wonderful day.